to Walking 00 Dead here, king of the anime and manga unboxes. So today I'm going to be doing my top 10 favourite Naruto ninjutsus. This isn't going to be, the top 10 most powerful ninjutsus. This is just going to be my personal favourites. So this list is going to include everything from like dojutsus, taijutsus, summoning jutsus, like modes like Sage mode, whatever, genjutsus and Geki Genkai. So everything's in it. Remember, this is my list, in my opinion. If you disagree with it, and your favourite like ninjutsu or whatever isn't in this list, and instead of hitting the dislike, drop me a comment down below with your top 10 favourite attacks or summonings or whatever, or send me in a video response, and I hope you like it.
8 gates.
So coming in at number 10 is 8 gates. The 8 gates are 8 specific points on a ninja's chakra-like pathway system. When opened, these gates allow the user to surpass their own physical limits, granting them like super strength, super speed. Also, their chakra level can surpass a Hokage, but this comes at like an extreme cost to their own body, where their muscles can rip, their bones can snap, or this can even cause like death. And the 8 gates are the gate of opening, the gate of rest, the gate of life, the gate of pain, the gate of limit, the gate of view, the gate of wonder, and the gate of death. And taijutsu masters Might Guy and Rock Lee use these techniques. And in my opinion, the 8 gates, well, obviously it isn't the whole 8 gates isn't used in this fight, but probably the best fight in Naruto, which is Rock Lee versus Gaara, where Rock Lee unlocks the gates and he gets like ridiculous speed, and he can use like primary lotus, and but at a massive cost to his own body, and he's taken out for like the whole of pretty much Naruto from that point onwards. But the 8 gates, super cool attack.
Sand Burial.
Coming in at number 9 is Sand Burial. After encasing his opponent in a large amount of specialised chakra-infused sand called Sand Coffin, Gaara will cause the sand to implode, crushing whatever is like encased inside this sand coffin. The pressure can break bones, it can flatten his opponent, or it can liquefy his opponent into a fountain of blood. And Gaara is pretty much the only person that can use this with his his ultimate like sand defense and all that sort of stuff. And we get to see this like in the tune-in exams in the Forest of Death, when he just destroys those group of ninjas like they were nothing. And obviously he like completely annihilates Rock Lee's arm and leg. I mean, the Sand Burial, a devastating attack.
Shadow Possession Jutsu.
So coming in at number 8 is Shadow Possession Jutsu. Shadow Possession Jutsu allows the user to extend their own shadow onto any surface, and also they can manipulate light and use shadows. Once the shadow is in contact with the target shadow, like the two merge, and the target is forced to imitate what the user's movements are. So if the user gets out a shuriken and chucks it in their face, or if he imitates slitting his throat, technically that's not going to happen in Naruto, but in theory that can happen. Or say if Shikamaru wants to walk someone off a cliff, he could walk someone off a cliff if he wants to. The only major downside to Shadow Possession is that it's very tiring to use, and it uses a hell of a lot of chakra. So obviously Shikamaru and like Shikamaru's like clan, they're the only people that can use this technique. And it's all used for like strategy, for more of a like a defensive fighter more than an offensive fighter. So there he is, Shikamaru, one smart man.
Kamui.
Coming in at number 7 is Kamui. Kamui is a powerful dojutsu created by the Mangekyo Rasengan. It allows the user to transfer any object into another dimension. This can be an offensive attack, where you can send a part of the body or a whole human's body to another dimension. Like essentially you could send someone's arm or someone's head and decapitate him and kill him just outright. Or it can be used as a defensive, where the user can send parts of their own body to the other dimension and then bring them back. So physical attacks essentially can't touch them, much like we see Toby use. If someone throws a kunai at him, he can let it teleport through him by teleporting that part of his body away and then back. So he's pretty much untouchable unless you're super fast or you have Kamui yourself. So the only two people that can use this is Toby or Obito, and the only other person is Kakashi, because he's got Obito's other eye.
Reaper Death Seal.
So coming in at number 6, Reaper Death Seal. The Reaper Death Seal summons the Death God or the Shinigami the Shinigami stands behind the user and then thrusts their like arms into the chest, to grab the soul of like the target and then drags it out. And this technique is like a double-edged sword, as the user's soul and the target's soul are both like devoured by the Shinigami and then trapped eternally inside his belly. Personally, I think this is the way that Edo Tensei Madara is going to get taken down, the Reaper Death Seal. Someone's going to use this on him. I think it's the only way he's going down. And this technique has been used by the 3rd Hokage and the 4th Hokage in times of massive desperation, like the village is in trouble. And I think Madara's going down by this technique.
Amaterasu.
So coming in at number 5 is the Amaterasu. I know a lot of people are probably going to hate that it's number 5 and they want it to be number 1, but unfortunately it's not. The Amaterasu is the highest level of fire release techniques. The jet black flames are said to be, the fires from hell, and they're capable of burning through almost anything in their path. Amaterasu is said, to never stop burning, even, when whatever has been caught by it is, been turned into ash and essentially completely disintegrated. But we have seen a few people such as Toby using Kamui get out of it, and Sasuke also gets out of this. And this is an Itachi and a Sasuke technique.
Chidori.
And in at number 4 is the Chidori. This is including all forms of this technique, so if there's more powerful versions of it, it's all under number 4. So things like the sword, the current, the thunderclap, they're all coming under this attack, basically, for me. This technique channels large amounts of lightning chakra into the user's hand, so it's basically like a lightning scalpel. The high concentration of chakra gives off the sound of birds chirping, which is what I love about this technique, basically, that you can impale people and it's just got an awesome sound effect to it. And this is an assassination technique used for impaling, basically, or driving holes through opponents' chests. So we see that happen to Haku pretty much at the very beginning. And Kakashi, this is his only original technique, and he teaches it to Sasuke.
Rasengan.
So, number 3, the Rasengan. Much like pick number 4, this includes all versions of the Rasengan. This includes the Rasengan Riot, the Rasen Shuriken, the Biju Dama. Anything to do with it is pretty much in pick number 3. The Rasengan is a powerful A-level technique invented by the 4th Hokage. It doesn't require hand seals to use it. It relies on chakra control. So obviously at first Naruto can't do this, so he's got a clone bashing away at the ball, which is really quite cool. The compact nature and moving speed of the chakra allows the Rasengan to smash and grind into whatever it comes into contact with, inflicting a massive amount of damage. And it is superior to Chidori because Jiraiya and even Sasuke himself admits to this. So it's a pretty awesome attack, and obviously we get really cool attacks like the Rasen Shuriken and the Rasengan Riot coming out of this, or the giant Rasengan or the level 2 flying Rasengan. There's tons and tons of different versions of this attack. And people that use this technique is the 4th Hokage, Naruto, Kakashi, and Jiraiya.
Susanoo.
So coming in at number 2, just missing out on the number 1 spot, is Susanoo. Susanoo is the 3rd ability granted by the Mangekyo Sharingan. It creates a massive humanoid being that surrounds the user, and it's kind of some of them kind of look like an android, covered with skin. They're really odd. Some of them can look like samurai. It's kind of like the user's guardian angel, but at the same time it consumes the user's life. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It's both an offensive and defensive technique. Each Susanoo is unique to a certain user. For example, they look different. They're different colours. For example, you've got Itachi's has the mirror and the sword, so it's kind of like a great defense and a great offense because it can fight for you and it can defend you. Despite its impressive defensive capabilities, the protection it grants the user is not absolute. You can actually be taken out of it, where we see Gaara pull Madara under the ground through the sand out of the Susanoo. So it does have some weaknesses. The only 3 people we've seen to use this technique is Sasuke, Itachi, and Madara.
Edo Tensei.
So my favourite Naruto Jutsu is the Edo Tensei. Edo Tensei is a forbidden technique. It's used to reincarnate the dead. Basically with this technique you can reincarnate armies of ninjas, legendary ninjas, Hokages, or mega powerful ninjas such as like Madara, you know, to fight for you and do your dirty work and to take people down. Like the first time he ever saw Edo Tensei was against, you know, the third Hokage versus Orochimaru, and he summons the first and the second Hokages, and it's like, oh my god, this is absolutely amazing. He's, you know, Orochimaru is so cool. It's like, oh, he's resurrected the first and the second, so he had to fight 3 people at once, and it's just like, this is going to be such an insane fight, and I absolutely loved it, and I've loved this technique ever since that. And obviously it's been used again in the 4th Great Ninja War. It's brought back some pretty cool people, but obviously no one's died, so we won't get into a war discussion. But Edo Tensei, most definitely my favourite technique. So guys, drop me some comments down below. You know, what are your top 10 jitsus? Obviously give us the video responses. If you like my stuff, please subscribe, and give us the thumbs up for your favourite jitsu.